This is the 2025 Honda Accord Hybrid EXL. Is it the best bang for the buck trim level? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're at Holmes Honda, and for those of you that are looking for a 2025 Honda Accord Hybrid, this is a good option for you. We're going to go over all the particulars. If you happen to want to know more about this particular model as far as coming in to buy it, check out the link down in the description of the video. The exterior color on this model is solar silver. It has a black interior. You'll find LED daytime running lights, and you can see one of the sensors right here on the front end. That means you're going to have a lot of great features as far as your safety features go, and things such as front and rear parking sensors. To help out, even though this is a hybrid, it's going to have great gas mileage. To improve on that, you have the active air curtains on the front end. That's what that area right there is. And a little bit of a combination between body color here on the front end, matte black and gloss black. Speaking of our safety features, what exactly can you expect to find besides the airbags in the interior? Honda Sensing is here, adaptive cruise control, collision mitigation braking, road departure mitigation, lane keeping assist, and traffic jam assist. Here is the remote. In fact, let me turn around here and we'll take a little bit more advantage of the Louisiana sunshine to show you what all is here. There are the features, including remote start. That's a big deal for a lot of people. And with your tires, we're going to have 225 on the width, a 50 series sidewall, and in this case we're wrapped around 17-inch wheels. And let me go over to this side so I can show you a couple of very important things. Try and get into a little bit of shade here. We're going to have body colored mirror caps, turn signal indicators built into the side view mirrors. Literally everything a lot of you want, with the one exception here with your side view mirrors. You'll also find that they're power adjustable, they're heated. You have blind spot monitoring built in right there. The only thing missing is that they're not power folding. They are manually folding. That's how you do that, in case anybody wonders. And going back to that remote, one more thing I do want to tell you that's important. It's also a proximity key, and it has the walkaway feature as far as locking and unlocking. And you can go into your interior in your infotainment screen and make adjustments to how all of that works. We'll finish things off here on the rear. We have something here that is very interesting. When you look at a hybrid vehicle, most of the time the cargo capacity decreases, maybe not by a lot, but it will be a little bit less when you go from a non-hybrid vehicle to a hybrid vehicle. In this case, it's not that way. No matter the type of Accord you go with, whether you go hybrid or non-hybrid, you're looking at 16.7 cubic feet worth of cargo capacity. Here's how you're going to maximize that. You saw what I did there. I just pulled on the releases, and then you can pull everything down here. Both sides came down at the same time. Kind of nice how that happened. And going back to this area, one of the common questions I receive on these hybrid vehicles has to do with whether or not it has a spare tire. No, it doesn't come with a spare tire. I wish Honda would add that as at least an optional feature. You do have the tire repair kit here, but you can actually buy a spare tire that will fit in here just as it should if you want to. There are kits available. You can buy them on Amazon. You can even buy them from your local Honda dealership. Just go into the service department and tell them what you want. Can't guarantee that they're going to have it right there available in inventory, but at the very least they can order it for you. Maybe you can even talk to your salesman when you buy your Accord in the process and ask them to go ahead and get that ball rolling for you. And motivation to get down the road with your Accord Hybrid comes from a combination of a naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder and dual electric motors. Combined horsepower is 204 and combined torque is 247 pounds-feet. That is all mated to an eCVT. What about your MPGs? Let's take a look at what the window sticker tells us. 51 city, 44 highway, 48 combined. 2.1 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. Speaking of gas, let's take a look at something else here. You do have capless fuel fill, and if you're curious to know what your gas tank size is, it's 12.8 gallons. Let's talk about what your rear seat passengers are going to find. Plenty of space with the door bin. Really more of a bottle holder than a door bin, but it could be used as a multitasker. And I put my arm here on the armrest. I do wish that this area was not angled as it is. I wish that was flat. where it just came from here and kept going in the same direction. But that's the way it is. Maybe not a big deal for most people. Hard to say. Tell me what you think about that. And we'll find a singular rear seat pocket over here on the right-hand side, on the passenger side. But the one thing that I know a lot of people desire for the rear seat of their Accords is what we have here. In fact, two things. Number one, connectivity. We have a couple of USB options right there, but the big one is above that, and that's going to be the rear air conditioning vents. I know a lot of you strongly desire those rear air conditioning vents, and the fold-down armrest is here with the cup holders built in. What can you expect to pay at Holmes Honda if you came into this dealership and bought this 25 Accord EXL hybrid? $36,035. If you need that $35, tell your salesman, they'll give me a call. I'll bring you the $35 to buy this Accord. Now, let's talk a little bit about what is and is not here concerning your seats. Driver and passenger seats are power adjustable and they're heated. The only thing missing on the passenger seat that's on the driver's seat is lumbar support. But I guess if you're going to have it somewhere, you might as well have it on the driver's side. The other thing that I think should be on both sides is not on the seats so much, but it has to do with the seats, and that's your seat memory right there. So only on the driver's side here. Would love to see that on the passenger side as well. And here's where you're going to determine which side view mirror you're changing the positioning on, and then you can hit that or push that to the neutral spot right there. Lock and unlock. Lock your windows, and with our windows here, the front windows are one touch down and one touch up. The rear windows, you'll have to hold the buttons down and hold them up to get the windows opened and closed, and larger door bins here as far as the front doors go. Nothing unusual about that. And let's see what else we have right here. We have the release right here that allows you to adjust the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. And here are your steering wheel mounted controls. Everything over here is for adaptive cruise control. And then a few other things here. You can control the volume and the stations you're listening to. Voice commands right there. And then the scroll wheel right here, I'm going to push on that, and there we go. Going to start scrolling, and we can go through some of our features that we have right here. There's actually a lot going on here that you can go into and get information and different things like that. So depending on what you're doing, it makes it pretty easy. You can even customize your display. So if you want to do that, you can with hide and show, and then display content when you're ready to go back. And all I'm doing to do all of that is scrolling. We'll go back to up right here, and I'll push the scroll button to go back. You can also do that to go back on your gauge right there if you want to. And here's something that you may not have noticed before, but when you turn your headlights on via the control right here, you'll notice that the lights come on that Accord right there in the center of the dashboard. And you can also see that the brake lights are on. When you go into drive, it gets down into what I like to call the ready, set, go position. And then you're going to have, of course, that other thing that I love to talk about over here. It's a multitasker. You can turn your headlights on and off, turn them to auto. It's a shame you can't turn your blinkers to auto, because so many of you don't do that when you're driving. At least around here you don't. And right here, I can't really say anything sarcastic the same way about that lever right there, but that is for controlling your windshield wipers. All that good stuff, easy to deal with. Now, let's talk about something interesting here. And I'm going to show you right here. Unless I have missed something for these last few years, you can't change the color of that Accord in the center of your instrument cluster, although it matches this particular model. But what if you do want to change that? Can you do it? Well, believe it or not, you actually can. In fact, let me go back here. We're going to go to vehicle settings. That's where you can do it. So here, you'll notice that it is already set to the color of the Accord that we have here. But if you wanted to change the body color, well, guess what? You could. You notice that you have several different colors to choose from here. And a lot of you already own an Accord hybrid with this 12.3-inch touchscreen, and you didn't even know you could do this. So I'm not going to go through all of the colors. Some of them do show up better on the screen than others, at least by my estimation. So that's what we have. And depending on what you want to see over here on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll notice that I'm just basically scrolling through, you'll see the dots right here. You've got the one white dot and the 4 grayed out dots. That lets you know that you have 4 different features as far as what you can put on the screen. And then we have all of our different information here that we can go through. Very simple to deal with. It may look complicated, but I guarantee you it actually is not. Just use what I like to call the hunt and peck method to work your way through and find the different things that you need. It's all here, and you can wirelessly pair your smartphone, and you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as you can see right here and right here. Here's your power flow meter if you want to have that on the screen. See what's going on with the vehicle. And I'm going to go into reverse right here and show you, number one, that we have the multi-view rear view camera. I would love to see Honda add the multiple camera views that the pilots currently have on a couple of different trim levels. That would be nice to have a front and side view to take a look at. And then right here, you can also see your parking sensors for the front and for the rear. And we'll go down here and take a look at our dual zone climate control. We have everything here for turning our heated seats on and off on both sides. And then wireless charging. Nice to have that wireless charging pad right there. A couple of USB options, your conventional style shifter, and then our drive mode selector. Let's see exactly what those drive modes are. So we're going to actually start out in normal. Every time you turn the Accord off, no matter what drive mode you're in, it's going to default back to normal. We're going to go up here. We'll also have our sport mode. You also have individual mode, so you can go in and customize different aspects of the vehicle depending on what you want. So let's just say if you wanted the powertrain to be sport and the steering to be normal as opposed to sport, well, there you go. You can do that. What about your adaptive cruise control? Normal or econ, you can do that. And then your gauge cluster, if you want that to be sport, you can tell the difference right there. In fact, let me do this. We'll go back to normal and let you see, not a major difference where that's concerned, but in case you were curious to see how that looks, well, there you go. Your cup holders obviously are here. You have your power parking brake and brake hold mode, and your center console. That the lid can be used as an armrest in addition to using that as the lid for the center console, and a little bit more space down there, as you can see. And you also have the advantage of a 12-volt power outlet right here. So what you could actually do is run an adapter, a 12-volt adapter that is a USB on the other end of the adapter, to add a third option for USB connectivity for the rear seats. And one thing I didn't show earlier in the video is the oh crap handles at every door. That way if the driver drops the hammer on 204 horsepower, well, I guess everybody can reach for their oh crap handles. Speaking of that, let's get out on the road. This car is actually a lot of fun to drive. In fact, before we do that, I do want to show you one more thing, a couple things here. There is the control for the position of your sunroof if you want to open that, and some of your other features here. And something else that I know a lot of people like to see is the fact that you have a sunglass holder. All right, let's get out on the road for a test drive. Take a little different test drive route than we normally do. Some people have asked for that, so I figured I would do that. So what exactly can you expect to find when it comes to driving this Accord? Well, it is a very fun vehicle to drive. It has a very sporty feel to it. The steering is nice and tight, which is always nice to have. It just gives you that nice responsiveness. You feel in control. It's always a good thing. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier in the video or not. I think most everybody knows this, but in case you don't, the Accord is exclusively front-wheel drive. I know a lot of people have asked for all-wheel drive, but that's just not something that is currently available with the Accord at this particular time. But one way or another, it does handle extremely well. That's one thing. Depending on how old you are or what you've driven, regardless of your age, older front-wheel drive vehicles, you knew it was front-wheel drive. It doesn't feel that way with these vehicles anymore. It's been quite a few years since you've really had that experience. But if you know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you can identify with that and say, yeah, I know it could be a little unusual to drive. You just had to get used to it. But you don't really have that anymore. It feels more like a rear-wheel drive or maybe all-wheel drive car to a degree. At least that's how I'm going to say it. But one way or another, this is a fun car to drive. Easy to see out of. You have all those great safety features that help you out when it comes to getting down the road, including your blind spot monitoring. But that's one thing I like here is you really don't have to worry about a blind spot. You have plenty of room or space to see with these windows, all of the windows on the side, the front, the rear. Your windshield is obviously nice and large. So it really makes a big difference. And I like the fact that you have that nice large rear window as well. And even though it has a little bit of a slope to it, still very easy to see out of. The gas pedal and the brake pedal are very easy to manage. No issues adjusting where that is concerned. And depending on the driving mode you're in, you'll see a little bit of a difference with sport mode. The RPMs are going to rise a little faster. It's not going to make a massive difference, but it does make a little bit of a difference. And then technology, everything is easy to get to here, easy to learn, easy to use. It's a very well-rounded vehicle. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, you can make a lot of adjustments to how your different safety features work and what's on and what's off. I didn't cover everything within the infotainment screen, but it is all here. And so depending on what you want to do, it's all very easy to deal with. There's a friend of mine right there that I know that I work out with at the gym, so we'll wave and say hello as we go by in a video. And the last thing I want to cover here is a big one for a lot of people based on questions that I know are asked in the comments section. How roomy is the interior? When I was sitting in the back seat earlier in the video, I had no trouble with space, no trouble with headroom, plenty of leg room, and obviously the leg room is going to be dependent on where the seats are set. So there is a degree of change that can happen there, and depending on how tall you are will determine obviously how you feel about headspace back there in the rear seat area. But for me at 5'10", there was a lot of room, no problem at all. So a very roomy interior. If you're the driver and you're saying, well, Tom, what about somebody who's well over 6 feet tall? How will they fit? It will not be a problem. 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", you should be okay. I know I've had other people comment in the past on these videos that drive Accords every day, this 11th generation of the Accord, and said, yeah, I have no trouble fitting in the driver's seat. If that's you, drop a comment just so we can verify that for those who may be wondering about that and wanting to hear it from somebody who actually is over 6 feet tall. So tell me what you think about the 2025 Honda Accord Hybrid EXL. Is it the best bang for the buck trim level when it comes to these hybrid Accords? Tell me what your thoughts are. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends here at the dealership for loaning me this Accord for the day, and a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.